After everyone eat and drink enough and resting, then, Xiao Lu's room door opened. Xiao Lu wants to earn some money to help Matzi to get married after spending all of his saving. She sings as she walking and thinking about the moment when Matzi and the person he loves became husband and wife and live happily forever after. But just for a few seconds, Xiao Lu hears Shichi's footsteps behind. She has no idea since when Shichi has followed her. Xiao Lu doesn't understand why he follows her, so she shouts at him that she has to go to the mountain to pick medicine leaves and tell him to go back home with Chuanzi and Matzi. She thinks that Shichi will go back home, so Xiao Lu continues walking to pick up medicine, but even after that, Shichi's still following Xiao Lu without saying anything. Xiao Lu doesn't know if Shichi didn't hear her telling him to go back home, so she asks him again. Shichi still remaining silent and doesn't say anything. Seeing how Shichi looks, Xiao Lu finally loosens her heart. She sighs, then she asks him, "Are you a Shin-Nong refugee?" Shichi slightly shakes his head. Xiao Lu continuing, "Are you a Xianyuan soldier?" Shichi still shakes his head to disagree with that. Then Xiao Lu asks him, "Are you a Gaoxing spy?" This time Shichi shakes his head stronger. If Shichi is none of those people at all, then it's alright. So Xiao Lu happily invites him to go into the mountain to pick herbs with her. Even though Shichi is injured, it's been a year already, maybe he's recovered a bit, so Xiao Lu gives her luggage to Shichi to carry. She also wants Shichi to have a chance to exercise his muscle. Shichi doesn't matter about carrying the luggage or not, just being able to follow Xiao Lu make him very happy. Xiao Lu and Shichi together climbing the mountain and admiring the scenery. After a while of picking herbs and stealing birds' eggs, then the sky begins to turn dark. Now Xiao Lu must find a place to rest so they can continue climbing higher tomorrow. After that, the sky also turns dark in the flickering firelight. Xiao Lu and Shichi happily grilling foods. Xiao Lu says, "I've lived in the mountain for several years. I've eaten everything that can be eaten and can't be eaten. I promise you, you'll eat well if you following me in the mountains." Xiao Lu gives Shichi a chicken thigh and forces him to finish that. Xiao Lu then starts eating her part. For a moment she glances at Shichi. She sees him gently tear off a small piece of chicken thigh and put it in his mouth. Such a style and scenery are quite charming. After eating, Xiao Lu and Shichi prepare to rest. But just before resting, Xiao Lu wants to ask Shichi about a problem that she has always wondering. She asks, "You will leave someday?" With no hurry, Shichi looks into her eyes then replies that he won't leave. Then he replies that he won't. Xiao Lu very happy to hear that answer from him. After 3 days in the mountains, they have picked up quite a lot of. But to get enough for Matzi's dowry gift is still not enough yet. This spiritual herbs are so hard to find. As she's saying she gives those spiritual herbs they just picked to Shichi to carry. Suddenly, something catches Xiao Lu's attention. It looks like the excrement of a spiritual animals that recently become popular among the rich. After observing and thinking for a while, Xiao Lu tells Shichi to stay and wait for her. She needs to go find that animal alone, but Shichi still always wants to go along with Xiao Lu, so he wants to go with her. Xiao Lu doesn't happy to hear that. She asks Shichi, "You said you would listen to me. I don't want you anymore if you won't listen to me." Shichi looks very sad when he hear that Xiao Lu doesn't need him. Xiao Lu realizes that she is a little bit aggressive, so she immediately changes her attitude, telling Shichi that he is the best and he always listening to her so she won't abandon him. Then she explains that because she going to catch a dangerous animal so she must go alone. Xiao Lu also promises that even if she cannot catch the animal, she will be back soon. Only then, Shichi feels better and let her go by herself. Then Xiao Lu picks up the animal poop and scrubs it all over. Shichi sees that then backs up a few steps. Xiao Lu asks Shichi, "You've never seen this before at where you lived, right? Actually it's not that dirty." Xiao Lu then explaining about all the medicine that have animal poop. Suddenly Shichi doesn't care about the awful smell. He comes close to her and carefully fixing her stuffs. That makes Xiao Lu very happy. Then she happily tells Shichi to know that she lived in the mountains for years and realizes that animal even though they dangerous but not as scary as human. Then, Xiao Lu pats her hands and say goodbye to Shichi. Shichi with no hurry says that he will wait till Xiao Lu come back. Going for a moment, Xiao Lu starting to dig a trap hole. Then she covers it up. So she successfully prepares for catching the spiritual beast she want to catch. The beast is Jojo. This beast is very popular with the rich. Catching this beast will earn them a huge amount of money. Jojo likes to hear young girl sings, so Xiao Lu starts to loosen her hair. A very beautiful face appears behind a man's identity for years. Then Xiao Lu sings a sorrow song to attract Jojo beast. Jojo hearing the voice and begins to appear, wants to make Xiao Lu forget her sorrow. Xiao Lu lets down her hair and sings. She looks like a fairy who has wandered down to earth because she cannot return to the fairy world. If you want to continue following the story, please like subscribe so you don't miss the next part.